really notice it while it's happening. And I think just the extra wrinkle with the Mexican buzz works very well. Mm-hmm. Spanish buzz, sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brad. I wasn't too crazy about it, Brandon. I think you're right. I think they really wanted to get that, hey, we got to get that Buzz Lightyear from the first movie back. And I thought it was really clever in the second one how they did it, because it's a different toy straight out of the box. You know, is there a factory reset on an action figure like that? No, it's not a iPhone or something. You don't need to go back to factory default. Like, it's kind of like in WALL-E, you know, spoilers for WALL-E, right? Where like they kind of have to factory reset WALL-E at the end, but he still is himself. Like, if you really factory...
I haven't seen that yet. Thanks for spoiling it for me.
If you really
have you really not?
I have not.
All right, we're gonna factory reset Brandon so he doesn't remember what I said. But if you really factory reset Buzz, like, wouldn't he not be Buzz ever again? I mean, that's a really dark turn they could have taken if they really wanted to go. This movie was dark enough, you know. I'm glad they didn't go that far, but I think that was stretching a little too much. Like, hey guys, remember we got Buzz Lightyear of Star Command over here. He thinks he's fighting in the Star Wars. Yeah, he thinks he's an astronaut. Yeah, we get it. But the whole thing where he's in the Spanish language, that was cute. So it's kind of a watch for me, but I wasn't crazy about it. No,
I don't mind. I kind of do like Buzz being kind of the instrument of the toys being in jail. I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean they had to do something different with him, right? And they gave him something to do for the I guess middle act of the movie.
Mm-hmm. See, I didn't mind it. Like it felt like they felt like they had to sandwich it in, and that's what they were trying to do. But it worked for me in the plot of the movie, and I really liked Mexican Buzz, and it led to my second favorite thing in the whole thing, which is the Gypsy Kings version of "You Got a Friend in Me" at the end credits.
Yes,
you know, like I love flamenco music so much, and that version of that song is just killer. So that's like my other favorite part of the movie is the end credits version of "You Got a Friend in Me." So
interesting, they picked up the thread of him liking Jessie, you know, from the second one at the end. Mm-hmm. And because, you know, Bo Peep's gone now, so you think, oh, well, they're going to, like, you know, their toys, right? They're going to, Woody and Jessie going to, quote, unquote, get together, whatever that means to your toy, right? Because they seem to be a set, you know? I mean, they are a set. I mean, their show, they were kind of a thing, I would have assumed. But they go for, they zig when you think they're going to zag, and they get Jessie with the astronaut. So I thought that was a cool shake-up to subvert expectations.
They do hint at it, though, through the movie. Like, when he's brainwashed or back in space mode, I think he says to her something about her bewitching good looks when she's trying to convince him of something.
No, and it was established in Toy Story 2, so I'm glad they picked up that thread. So that was fun it's just fun to see that, because the natural thing is like, oh, well, you're going to get the two cowboy toys together. No, let's get the astronaut and the cowboy toy together. Mix it up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's really fun. I love that.
Okay, Brad, is there anything we haven't addressed that you'd like to talk about yet? Any final thoughts you have on the film? Any plots or characters that you want to talk about that we've missed over?
No, I think we've touched on everything. I think this was was this before or after Cars 2?
This was right before Cars 2.
So this was like right before their run as far as Pixar, where they actually never really made a bad movie. Like, this was right at the tail end of that. They've made good ones since, but it's interesting that this is right at the tail end of their run of nothing but well-made films.
Mm-hmm. So is Cars 2 not very good? Is that what you're saying?
It's horrific. It's barely watchable.
Wow. John Lasseter left Toy Story to do that. So
it was a horrible mistake, a horrible decision.
Wow.
Is Cars 3 better?
Cars 3 is way better. It's still, the Cars franchise as a whole is definitely a weak spot in the Pixar film.
I think that is the one. That's the running joke between everyone who talks about Disney stuff. Oh, you got Cars over here. You know, that's like the dark, the black sheep of the Pixar family is the Cars franchise. So.
Cars and Good Dinosaur, but other than that, they're pretty solid movies. I don't know. I just love this movie. I think it caps off what was a fantastic trilogy. which is why, I'm excited about a fourth, but I'm kind of surprised it exists, other than the fact that, it made $1 billion, so why aren't you going to make a fourth?
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. I think that this is the perfect button for this trilogy. It's much like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, right? They literally end with him riding off in the sunset. Like, you can ask for a better ending. And yet there's a fourth one, and they're doing the same thing in Toy Story. But I have more faith in Pixar than I had in Lucas and Spielberg for Indiana Jones 4. We'll do Indiana Jones franchise one of these days when Indy 5 comes out with 80-year-old Harrison Ford. But that's a discussion for another time that we will have on this podcast down the road. But really, though,
I can't wait to talk about Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull because it's such a great movie.
Brandon. But yes, this you couldn't ask for a better finale for this trilogy. And they just hit all the right things. And again, bring in the humans. More the human characters like Andy and his family dynamics there. That's what really kind of brought it home. To have him again pass the toys off to a new kid, explaining how much they mean to him and have meant to him, and what it meant to us as viewers through these 3 movies. So, great way to end it, the movie and the whole trilogy. I'm very interested to see where they go with the fourth one, because I don't know where they could go, but like you said, Brandon, who knows where they could have gone with 2 or 3. They found ways to tell new interesting stories, so I have faith.
Yeah, I've got faith in it as well. I'm looking forward to it. I don't have anything else that I want to address. I agree this is a perfect cherry on the top, and I'm just shocked that there's a fourth one coming, because this felt like an end to the franchise to me. So,
well, that said, Brandon, let's rank this movie. Brad, out of 5 monkeys in a barrel, how many monkeys in that barrel would you give Toy Story 3?
5. 5 monkeys and all the monkeys. It's fantastic.
What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm definitely ranking this 5. Like, I've ranked the other 2 5 stars as well. I'm definitely ranking this a 5. I'll save my final rankings for our recap episode after we do Toy Story 4. But yeah, this is definitely a 5-star film. Like, I think this is a masterpiece, and I couldn't have asked for anything better. How about you?
You know,
I don't think we're getting a 5 out of you.
I'm the negative one around here, so I am going to give this one
Nelly.
4.5 out of 5 monkeys in a barrel from me. Because
why do you hate Toy Story?
Because I love all 3 of these. All right, but I think the other 2 are a step up from this one. I think it's a little bloated in areas. I think it's a little long. It wasn't 100% engaged like it was in the other 2. I just think I don't know. Like, I don't know what they could have like trimmed or cut or cleaned up or whatever. I just felt this was just a notch below the other ones. But again, how they brought it home in the end really solidified it as a great movie, just not quite as great as the other 2, in my book.
Well, I tell you, I know what would make this podcast not feel so bloated and full as if we cut Zach out of it.
All right, guys. Well, we do have our To Infinity and Beyond count we need to do for this movie. So, how many times do you think To Infinity and Beyond was said in this movie, guys?
Or variations.
Yes,
Zach's
or
variations
thereof, yes.
I got my count, but Brad, what do you think?
Oh, I'm just going off the top of my head. I certainly wasn't counting while I watched it. I'm going to say 4 times.
Okay.
I think it was only 2.
All right. Brad says 4. Brandon says 2. It was 4. Brad wins.
Ooh.
These are the 4 times it was said. Buzz and Andy's imagination after lifting the train up and the playtime at the beginning of the movie. Second time is Woody tells Buzz they'll be together for Infinity and Beyond, much like at the end of the second movie.
Yeah.
Woody again mentions to Buzz that he's been beyond infinity when Buzz asks where he was. And then Buzz's voice box at the end when Bonnie pushes the button, and he says it in his toy voice. So that's the 4 times for Toy Story 3. So far in the franchise, we'll do some quick math here. We have 4 instances of that in Toy Story 3. We had 6 instances of that in Toy Story 2, which is 10. And then we had 7 instances of that in Toy Story 1. That brings us to 17 To Infinities and Beyond this far in the franchise.
Excellent. Brad, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. Depending on schedules, either Jamie, your wife, is going to join us for Toy Story 4, or you will be back to join us for Toy Story 4, and we are very excited for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. Brad, you're not much on social media, but you have any place that if anybody wants to message you and talk about Toy Stories, probably your YouTube channel would be the best place, right?
Yeah, no, I'm just on Facebook, so look up Jamie Thomas with Click the Mouse, or on Facebook, or search Jamie Thomas Disney on YouTube, and it'll come right up. And either her or I would love to talk with anyone about Toy Story, because Toy Story's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, right on. Zach, where can people find you when you're not trying to manipulate the business that you're running and put all the little henchmen at the bottom of the barrel while you reap all the benefits at the top?
Well, you can find me personally on Twitter at MoronZach. That's MOOREONZACH. I'm also the host of my own podcast, Always Sold to Smallville. We talk about each and every episode of that Young Superman show. You can find us on Twitter at Always Smallville with one S. I'm also a host of Standard Orbit, Trek FM's original series podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Trek FM. Over there talking about my show, Standard Orbit, where we talk about all things Captain Kirk and the Enterprise, old and new. So, Brandon, when you aren't going off to college, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Brandon Matella. On Trek FM, I host two shows, one called Melodic Treks, which is all about the music of Star Trek. That's released generally once a month. And either just released or coming up very soon is my episode that I did with my friend Carl, talking about the score to Aliens by James Horner. You can find me every other week on Warp 5 with my friend Patrick, where we talk Star Trek Enterprise. And you can find me over on the Fandom Podcast Network with my friends Chris and Tom, where we talk Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast. You can find us on Twitter at UFP Earth, or you can send us an email, contact@ufp.earth. I'd like to thank very much our associate producers, Ken Tripp and Tony Robinson, as well as Zach Tripp for creating our wonderful music. If you guys so choose, please, it would help us a great deal if you could rate and review the show on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever they've got it called now. It's all changing. And if you feel like supporting us through Patreon, you can find us on Patreon. Just search UFP Earth. And all those funds go back into the network to help support our hosting fees over on Spreaker. Well, that's all we got for you this week. Until next time with Toy Story 4, there's a snake in my boot.
So play nice.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.